this cost and this idea is really good. This is super. I have a genius idea. It's a wow factor and everything. He said, if you can't sell it, you don't have anything. And selling it is adapting to the culture that you're going to be dealing with. So if any entrepreneur would say, if you have a product that you're trying to expand, you have to understand the marketplace first.
Hello, Philip, and welcome to our new iTalks podcast. It's a Business Champion edition, and it's also an English edition. It's not the premiere. We had the last podcast was the premiere of the Business Champion podcast and the English edition, but it's a premiere for us and for you because it's the first time you are at iTalks podcast. So welcome, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for asking. I appreciate it, and you know, I actually enjoy doing these things. So
I was betting on it, so we are on the right track. For those who maybe for them it's the first time when they hear our podcast, it has three parts. In the first part, we want to discover you and Telios Care, the company you founded, and you will talking about it in the first part. Second part, we want to be inspired by you because I will ask you about your aha moment or moments because you probably had multiple ones. And in the third part, we want to learn from you because I imagined and identified different real-life situation, hypothetical ones, of course, for which I would ask you from your experience as a venture capital, as a founder of a telemedicine company, to give advice for other people who might be at the beginning of their road as an entrepreneur, or they are thinking to invest in telemedicine. I think you welcome a little bit of competition, if it's possible, in the area.
Of course.
But I do not want to enter the first part before I invite you to give your elevator speech, a short version of who you are, what is Telios Care. Probably a lot of people have already heard about Telios Care and or they are using your product as a telemedicine service. But what should they know about you, Philip, and about Telios Care in a short version?
Okay, first of all, let me give you a little bit of history about me. Okay. It's not a good way to start with. I should hear your history first, but no.
Please.
A little bit of history about me is I am Romanian, but I'm born in the States. My grandparents all immigrated from here between 1898 and 1906.
Quite some time ago.
Long time ago, much before my time. Okay. My grandfather actually built the first Romanian Orthodox church in the States in 1906.
Wow.
Okay. So, yeah, we go back. Yes, we go back many, many years. I am second generation born there. I'm the only one that ever came back here, which my family said, WTF? No, why?
Why are you doing that?
Why are you coming back there? My grandfather, when I was a little boy, always taught me and told me this. He said, Romania is a beautiful country. He said, go back and visit. If you ever have a chance, you would love it there. And he's actually the one that inspired me to be an entrepreneur, because he actually had the first professional baseball team in Cleveland, Ohio. All right.
I made my homework and I documented myself. I never saw anywhere written this. So thank you for sharing with us.
It was called the Choban Bills.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. And he's the one that taught me that you can do whatever you want in your life. Don't let people stop you and say, no, it's better if you do this, if you go to university, if you do all these things and everything. He's the one that inspired me. So after military, after university, and I did all my university at nighttime.
Oh,
okay. I worked each day and I went to school at night. Okay. So my career has been, I said, it started in the States, but went to Hong Kong, went to China, went to Singapore, went to Malaysia, went to Indonesia, went to India, then here. Okay.
You ended up here. You
Yeah.
came here in
1990.
1990.
1990, and here's kind of how, and if I can move back and be more relaxed, because I'm a, as you can see, I'm a person that likes to, I think I'm Italian, maybe. No, talk with my hands, maybe. I came back here in 1990 originally. I met a girl in 1996 in Cluj. All right. I married her. We took her. We went back to the States in '97. And it wasn't a big surprise that once we got there for a couple of months, she said, "I don't want to come back." Okay, 1997. All right. So we spent. So she became a surgical nurse at Cleveland Clinic. All right. But at the age of 44 in 2004, she was diagnosed with a genetic Alzheimer's form. So by 2006, she didn't know who I was anymore. She lost her English skills, Hungarian skills too. Okay, being from Cluj, she spoke both, of course.
I guess.
So in 2007, after every night her baggage being packed by the door, and I'd ask her, "Unde te duci?" La mama. So after about 6 or 8 months of that, I decided to pick up and go back and
Come back to Romania.
come back to Cluj. And being an entrepreneur most of my life, I was very blessed in that respect, that gave me the opportunity to actually do that. All right. Otherwise, if I had a regular job, I would have been
very
basically screwed. It would have been very, very difficult at that time to do it. So we picked up, we moved back to Cluj. Getting off the airplane in Cluj, she knew everybody. She knew her mother, she knew her cousins.
It's a long-term memory.
Long-term memory, exactly. So this was in 2007, 2008, between there, okay? So I took care of her from the time we got back until the time that she passed away in 2015. All right. During that time, of course, I had to get doctors and medications, and even to get her
Prescriptions.
pension here,
Okay, pension.
even to get her pension for disability, okay, had to go through a number of hoops here. I was very thankful to the fact that all her diagnosis and all her medical forms were done in the States. So nobody questioned it here. Okay, the authorities had nothing to say about that, because they said, okay, you diagnose her in the States, we see everything. Okay, we can't say anything against that.
Second opinion.
We can't second opinion that at all. And everything. So I took care of her from 2008 through 2015, but had to steer the medical system here. I was very thankful that my best friend was a doctor, MD, still is my best friend. He's actually a medical director for us now also. Okay. He helped me navigate everything here. He helped me to get appointments, to get prescriptions, to get everything I needed, where I only had to pick up the phone and I had to call him and get the things done.
This experience led to the founding of Telios Care?
Basically, yes, because after my wife died, I had the choice. Do I go back to the States? Go back to Asia? Do I stay here and everything? By that time, I had built a life here. I mean, remember, I came back in 2008 again after being here a first time. I came back then, and from 2008 to 2015, I was here. So I had a lot of friends. I had a life here also. So the choice was, do I go back to the States? Do I try and rebuild a life there, even though I had a home there and everything? Same thing. Matt, I made the choice to stay here, and I made the choice to stay here because of friends, for one thing, and because the environment of starting something like we're doing, Telios, the environment was actually prime at that time also. So that's how Telios began.
That's how Telios. That's a very inspiring story, and it's not the first time I hear it. So, but every time it moves me how a personal experience and a personal journey led to the start of a great company. Who's now, fast forward, you have more than 100 doctors and 22 specialties. But I do not want to give out too much information about
There's
that.
There's a lot of inspiring stories worldwide, and a lot of the great companies began because of experience.
Absolutely. The first part, actually, and I'm glad that you had this introduction, because the first part of the podcast, as I was saying, it's about discovering you. Maybe different things than what you usually say at many conferences and events where you participate, or in articles or interviews or podcasts. So I tried to do my homework. I looked up your personal but also professional, in terms of Telios, journey until now. Picked up more than 25 interesting moments in your life or the company life. Shortlisted from there 7, and then titled them interestingly and mysteriously. And here's the list. They have nothing to do with the reality, or not easily recognizable. Our task is it's called, this part, 3 pages of your story. Our task is, and your challenge is, one by one, so one after the other, tell me about which one do you want to talk. You will have the chance to choose 2. I have one which I really want to talk about, but if you hit it from your choices, then I will let you to choose the 3rd one also. Okay? So you tell me, with which topic do you want to start? I will read out for those who are just listening to us. It's called, this part, the 3 pages of your story. The first topic, or the first title of the topic I identified, is called Blueprints of Care Beyond the Business Plan. The second is Whispers of the Past, Which Journey Lies Unseen. 3, Help the Hero. 4th, The Silent Symphony. 5th, Crescendo. 6th, Beyond the Stethoscope. And 7, Human Touch in a Digital Age. Which one do you want to start with first?
Lucky number 7, huh? No, we're not going to do that. Okay. I'm just saying, it's a big choice here. Thank you very much, though.
Welcome.
Interesting, very mysterious. Okay. Yes.
We have no idea what is behind.
No, I have no idea.
Perfect.
What's
and I did
behind
my job well.
These. Okay, you did your job well. Let's talk about Whispers of the Past.
Whispers of the Past. This is the second. I really like it. And God works in mysterious ways, because you had presented or talked at the beginning of this podcast a little bit about that. Whispers of the Past, Which Journey Lies Unseen. It's about the fact that, you are Romanian, but also you were born in US. You're also US citizen. And your grandparents are from Romania. You already mentioned that they emigrated in US in 1898. Your grandparents, and now I learned that he also built the first Orthodox church over there. You came back in 1990, and then you married a Romanian girl, and you already presented the story. I'm curious about, for example, what aspects of your Romanian roots, because indirectly, or even if it's a 2nd generation or 3rd generation Romanian, not Romanian, you have Romanian roots, was impactful on your entrepreneur realization in terms of Telios Care. So how big, and if so, what role did your Romanian roots played in Telios Care, founding together with the other founders?
I hinted on that a little bit before. All right. My granddad, actually all of my grandparents on my dad's side and my mom's side both, were entrepreneurs. My paternal grandfather came over and he actually began and he mined coal. Okay. When he came, first of all, okay. It was a tough job. He came to Cleveland then, all right, and
industrial area.
He worked in the steel mills for a little while, but then he realized that he could do more, all right, and he started a janitorial company where he was washing restaurants and cleaning windows and everything and doing those type of things, and that led into buying real estate, and that led into baseball team. Also, that led into during the Prohibition time, that led into he owned a lot of pool halls and bars. Back then they were called speakeasies. Okay, remember the little doors you would open and say and everything? He had a lot of those, everything. So he was an entrepreneur. So that's on my dad's side. On my mother's side, my mother's father was I'm trying the English word now. He was a butcher, right? So he had meat stores. So growing up as a kid, also when we would visit my mom's family, we would be upstairs. And the butcher shop would be downstairs.
Usually that was
okay. Exactly that. So I grew up in
entrepreneurship.
Exactly. I grew up with that. All right. And when I became right around 10, my father, who took over the company from my granddad, everything. Okay. My father, when I was 10, on the weekends would say, okay, get up, you're going with me. You're going to work.
It's so good training, and not training, it's life school.
It was a time that I really got to be close with my dad. Something that a lot of kids don't get to experience. We would leave, he'd wake me up 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, get up. Let's go, get dressed. We'd have a chance. First stop was, let's have breakfast. Have a breakfast, sit and talk. I had a chance to really get to know my dad. Then we would go scrape walls of a restaurant, scrape the kitchen, scrape the grease off, go change the windows, go do whatever we were going to do for that day. Everything.
Was it different than what other kids of your age back then were doing in the weekends, for example?
Much.
And I'm asking this because we had another lovely person who participated in a past podcast, is Mara Eliza Barza, and she also was grown up in an entrepreneurship. They had a shop, mixed shop, and she was also doing many things together with parents and grandparents. And I asked her also the same question. So I'm asking now the same for you. Now, looking back, maybe then, first question, back then, was it for you as a kid doing this, like, I would like to go out and play football or soccer or whatever. Well, in Romania, we play soccer. And now you say that was a really good school for you. Was
Actually, back then I was kind of I don't want to say a geek, okay, but I was more interested in, look, I built my first television set at 10. Okay, and if you know what an amateur radio operator is, a ham they were called back then, I had my license at 10. Okay. So I was kind of on a different path. I exercised my whole life, and I still do. You know that, okay? So I had weights in the basement, and I had a swimming pool nearby to go to and everything. So I did that, but I was kind of a loner at that point in time. And if you notice now, still, I stutter. You notice that, okay? Okay, I stutter. When I was a kid, I couldn't get out 2 words. Okay, so kids being kids, growing up, I was hammered.
Jack Welch had the same issue, and his mother said that it was very motivating. You stutter because you think faster than you can talk.
Exactly.
And there was a great point. Well, Jack Welch passed away a couple of years ago. And he was a great person, a great leader, and a great CEO.
General Electric, exactly.
Yeah. So coming back to your...
So this is what occurred is growing up in the entrepreneurial aspect. Plus, it's how I made money for school, for my school lunches and everything. I got paid. My parents taught me the value of money. Okay. Then my uncle also was, he had the first Romanian funeral home in Cleveland also. So I worked a little there.
So
and worked
you never lose touch actually of Romania and the Romanian universe. So that's why probably it also brought you back to Romania at one point in 1990. But you were also venture capital. You mentioned a couple interesting countries where you visited and you lived and worked there. Having the venture capital mindset and experience, coming to Romania, which is Romania in the these days even, but back then it was probably much
cowboy,
much visible. The
cowboy days.
Cowboy, okay, cowboy days.
Wild West, Wild West days, Wild East more.
Yeah, for you, okay. But how you perceived back then and now the Romanian entrepreneurship landscape versus the US landscape, or the Indonesian or Malaysian or whatever?
Comparing it now or comparing it back then?
We can start with back and then we can move to the present times.
Okay. 1990 when I came, it didn't exist. Okay, the landscape did not. My first business here was importing frozen chickens.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
It was very interesting. I would bring a container in to actually Piraeus, Greece. It would truck up. It would hit the Giurgiu. The Vama would stop it. Say, well, what are you bringing in? Everything. Say, pui. Okay, pulpa de pui. Everything. Well, we don't know. And if you give them a case of chickens, you got the stamp and you moved on. Okay. I come into Bucharest. The veterinarian had to also approve it here.
Of course.
Say the same thing. What are you bringing in? All right, pulpa de pui. We don't know. Give him or her a case of chickens and get the stamp. Okay. Romanian currency wasn't something you could trade back then. So we would sell it on the black market. When we would sell the chickens, get Romanian lei, change it on the streets at nighttime into sterling, lire, pound, whatever you could, hard currency, and then leave with a suitcase full of cash.
Then,
okay.
And now?
Okay. Now, there's actually an ecosystem that's developing. It's still in an infantile stage, but there is a system that is developing. And if you're an entrepreneur, there's actually ways that you can fund yourself and start yourself. There's angel investments. There's VCs, there's private equity funds. Those are all starting to actually develop here, and they're developing very, very well. All right. There's some gaps. There's some big gaps that we need to fill. Like people, when I get a chance to speak right now, people say, you have wisdoms. You have wisdom in this. No, I don't. I have experience. Okay. Just because I have experience doesn't mean that I'm actually wise about things. So the system has developed. Look, in 33 years almost, Romania has developed dramatically. You may not see it because you're born here, you live
You're using
here,
the same
you see
perfume
it.
every day. We don't smell it anymore.
All right, you don't, okay. Having been outside and having seen the systems in Hong Kong, China, Indonesia, Singapore, every place that I've been in my life, okay, Romania has come a long ways and is actually doing a super job. Now, when is all this change going to actually have an effect?
I think we already see the effects in many cases. Even in healthcare, there is Telios Care, telemedicine, a completely different and holistic and fully integrated telemedicine company in Romania, which in 30 years ago it wasn't possible to imagine even. Huh?
That's true. But when are you going to see the full effect of all this change? When is it really going to take hold? When the older generations are gone. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we are not anymore a developing country, so we are not on the OECD list. We are already a developed country. But thank you for all this information. I love to do this podcast because even if we know each other for some time, and I made my documentation pretty thoroughly, and I have pages here, information. You only see 7 titles, but there are many information here. But I always discover new things about people. That's why I call this part of the podcast to discover other things about the guest and also the company of the guest. If you are okay, we can move to another topic from our list of 7. I really like what you have chosen until now. Whispers of the Past, which journey lies unseen. We talked.
Okay. I'll take number 1 now. Blueprints of Care.
Number 1. Number 1, Blueprints of Care Beyond the Business Plan.
Because this part comes from my heart.
It comes from your heart. I like it because it's about, thinking of founding a company like Telios, then working towards it, and then founding and developing towards where we are today. That's about this topic. I know that Telios Care was founded, as you mentioned, from a personal experience and challenge and journey. And in 2015, you started to work towards Telios Care as a business, and then you launched in 2017 together with other founding members such as Lucian Koshoy, Matt Henry from US, Dr. Adrian Danciu, and yourself. Then you started to do your thing, let's put it that way. And fast forward now, you have more than 100 doctors, a couple dozens of nurses, and more than 24 specialties covered by Telios Care.
Yes.
How did your personal experience, we already talked about how it shaped the direction and the velocity of the moment when you started Telios Care. But I want to go back a little bit one step before. I was trying to figure out from where does the name Telios, I know care, what does it mean? But Telios, from where does it come? And what means and how you ended up with this name? I found one reference about it, but not from you. It's maybe, I'm just guessing, maybe it's from the word teleios, which means complete, opposed to a part of it, or only a part. I don't think that's the name.
Actually, it's Greek. Okay, it is Greek. There's a number of different meanings to it. That is one of them. All right. How we picked it, I just honestly speaking, I just thought it sounded very very nice. I like the name. We were trying to think of a name, and we came up with some Greek words like Helios and some other things.
Why Greek?
Because Greek is a fundamental language in healthcare.
Healthcare, exactly.
All right.
Right. They were the founding.
They were the Hippocrates.
Exactly.
Hippocrates.
Yeah,
okay.
Was my father is a doctor, so I know.
Oh, yeah, you know that
things.
exactly. He took the oath.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He took that oath. So it was more or less. Again, it was more or less of a name that we thought would sound nice, and if anybody looked up the meaning of it, it had a meaning behind it. It came from no particular area. It said, "Oh, it didn't came from
It wasn't
say,
like
wow, I have a wow moment." Okay,
or a brand
I didn't. No,
specialist to work with.
it didn't. And the reason the care came about was Telios was taken already.
In Romania.
Yes.
Okay.
The trade register had another company named Telios. What they do, I had no idea again. So we had to say, okay, what do we put? Telios Health, Telios what? So we just said, okay, Telios Care on the register, and it caught on.
If I would stress you to go down to a very, very important and extraordinary building block of Telios Care DNA. When you say, you present yourself, I'm Philip Choban, and I'm the founding member of founder of Telios Care. What do you feel? What do you back deep down when you say Telios Care? What do you feel it really means?
What do I feel it really needs? Means. I'm sorry about that. What do I feel it really means? I feel it means that I'm giving something that actually helps and has a purpose. That's how I feel about it. I don't, as most people who know me, it's a business, yes. Okay, monetary.
In order to do good things, we need to.
It's a business, okay. Yeah. But what's more important for me is it actually accomplishes something, and it actually does something to help in a time that people need help.
That's very important, and it's very deep and sincere and organic thing.
I told you, no, this comes from my heart. Mm-hmm. All right. When I see what we're doing, and when our team sees, and when I see the team that we've put together that has a dedication and has a heart and cares about their jobs and cares about the people they're talking to and how they're talking to them, and are we resolving the problems for them, everything. When I see that, it makes me feel, wow, we're actually doing something.
You're proud of it, what you accomplished.
Pride is a two-edged sword, okay? I wouldn't, so yes, I'm proud of it, but more I don't want to use the word humbled, but I'm going to, okay? I'm humbled also by when I see somebody, or somebody comes up to me and say, we use Telios today, and wow, what a superb experience. It was so cool. And you resolved my problem, and you're helping me. And that makes me feel like I can't even describe the feeling.
It must be a great feeling.
It is.
And you have more than 400,000
yes.
persons who are helping every day.
It's a feel. Okay, let's not use pride. Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. My job is to ask the right questions, sometimes interesting or important questions, to discover more things about. Do you regret anything in this journey with Telios that if you could go back in time, I would change that? Or make another decision or embark another journey?
I regret, yes, I do. All right. I regret that having the vision was good. Pushing it was good also. I feel good about that. But I do regret the portion of that I have a great team, right? And I didn't always communicate with them the way that I should have. And I didn't always take their needs into my thoughts also, instead of thinking about, oh, I have customer needs. Okay, the customer is number one. Okay, but the team is also a number one. Okay, and trying to differentiate between the two at times sometimes put the customer first, and I put the team, said, okay, the team will
survive.
understand that and survive. Sometimes they don't understand it.
Yeah, that's always a challenge when an entrepreneur launches. And even if you have, because you have the founders of Telios Care are still working for Telios, and they're active members of the team.
Exactly.
But sometimes if there's a lonely entrepreneur who starts to build a business, that's even harder. But when probably being four of you was a little bit more easier, but also challenging, I would say, because you different personalities, different expertise. How briefly you had experience in entrepreneurship, and I understood now that from your grandparents and from that side and your mother's side you had experience. Lucian Koshoy has a different expertise. Mr. Matt Henry has a different expertise, and Dr. Adrian Danciu has a different expertise. Was it hard for all these four great minds and charismatic persons to work together, or was it a seamless integration where there was covering his part and was?
I think that I think a lot of that depends on what type of a leader you are. Also, if you're autocratic, a lot of that doesn't make any difference. Okay, if you're a democratic type and you're bringing everybody's thoughts and expertise in, then that becomes more of a dilemma, I'll call, to solve, because you're dealing with skills, you're dealing with a personality, you're dealing with egos, dealing with a lot of different parts that have to come in. But we've been very, very blessed, lucky, depending on what you think of things. We've done pretty well at that. That I won't say 100% of the times, because if you agree 100% of the times, something's wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay, something's definitely wrong. But everybody has had and still has the opportunity to voice their thoughts. And I hope even though I'm the CEO, all right, CEO, what does that mean? Chief Everything Officer. Means I wash the toilets, I clean the glasses, I do, okay, everything that comes about, and that's fine. Just because I'm the CEO doesn't mean that I don't listen to what everybody else is thinking, and I never make a decision on my own 100%. I always bring everybody's thoughts in, including my investors. I have advisors, as you know, all right, and listen to them. I take things to them all the time. I don't want to do things because I make mistakes. God only knows how many mistakes I've made in my life, and I'll continue to make mistakes.
Because you're trying new things.
I'm trying a new path. We made, again, and I'm proud of. This part I'm proud of. We made a market here that didn't exist. Okay, we took something that nobody understood, nobody knew even existed and everything, and we made a market that wasn't there. And I'm very thankful to the people in 2018, 2019, when we really started doing things. I'm so thankful for the people who believed in us and gave us a chance.
And you definitely revolutionized, and not only carved or made yourself a seat at the table of healthcare in Romania, but you also revolutionized even the healthcare system in many ways in terms of accepting telemedicine and the prescriptions and everything. So it's quite endeavor you took over, for sure.
It's a fun ride.
And you're still very much developing company
every day.
Thank you for the blueprints of care beyond the business plans. I wanted to make sure that we understand a bit more besides a business plan, and how did Telios arise, how it was founded, what's the name, what's behind, what's deep down in your soul, what do you feel about? And I'm sure that your great team, and not only the founding guys, I wanted to say.
Everybody,
but the whole team,
everybody.
It's a part. This is the second topic, and I said that I will take the chance to choose one if you don't choose it by yourself. And I have a really important one.
Okay, that's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
now,
that's what
too.
I'm waiting for. It's the fifth.
I didn't. This is going to be a total surprise to me because I have no understanding of I know what crescendo is in music, of course, but this is going to.
It's about three things. It's about. I will start with this quote. What you said quite recently in one of the interviews you had. It's you said the following: human mind and human heart individually can do things. But once they work together at the same time in the same direction, miracles can happen. I want to put that aside, but don't forget this quote. And the crescendo, it's mainly about speed and growth. Why? Because you are the fastest growing telemedicine company, dedicated telemedicine company in Romania, growing to a team of great persons. You have 200% customer increase versus 2022. If my data is correct, to more than 200 revenue increase versus 22. You have 4.9 out of 5 customer satisfaction. Great. You have also grown your team quite extensively the recent period. And you also are serving different countries, not only Romania, but also Republic of Moldova, thinking of Bulgaria, Hungary, and even you are thinking of an outside acquisition in the US. So these are extraordinary things. These are growth things. They are speed, and they are delightful when a company, especially when it is about attracting funds to develop and to further push the company realizations. I want to slow down a little bit now and to talk about in this speed and growth, how you, and I'm coming back to the quote, how you make sure that your team is following the growth of the company, you're not losing the mind and heart and intellect and ration and logic all works together, and you don't lose the care, the thing what you talked about, what is Telios meaning for you. How you make sure that you don't lose that part in the company side, and also towards the customer, who you said it's number one, of course, alongside with the team. How you manage to grow the company, you and your team, of course, but also keep the fundamentals still valid.
Okay.
That's a quite long introduction.
Quite okay. Intricate.
Mm-hmm.
Intricate, very much so. Very tied in a lot of different. Sometimes in life, this is through experience right now. This is not a wise move. All right. So sometimes it's very hard to tie between what your head is saying and what your heart is saying. You know that. You experience that every day in your life.
Absolutely.
You experience it. We all do. All right. What we make sure of, and what I make sure of, especially, I try, and I hit on this a little bit before, try and be a leader that listens, not only to the people around me, but to the people that utilize us too. I listen to them, listen to what I hear outside in the marketplace, and try and make sure that try, because I don't always succeed. Nobody does. If somebody tells you I succeed 100% at everything, it's bullshit. Okay, doesn't happen. I know that. All right. Try and listen to what everybody is saying around there, and try and segregate that between what my heart is telling me, but also what the business is saying that I have to move into. My heart may be saying, here, I give you an example. My heart is saying right now, we need to do a lot of chronic care here,
which nobody wants in the healthcare sector.
which nobody wants to do in the healthcare sector. And when we started to run the statistics on how much does diabetes cost, how much does heart care cost, how much does cancer cost, it's a black hole, right? Nobody knew. So it's not that I don't want to do it, because I know there's a need, all right? But from a standpoint, can I justify doing it? Because it's also a business. I don't know if I can justify that. And I let our people, the nurses, the doctors, have an open line if they want to discuss anything, if they think we're doing anything wrong, if they don't like and everything, then call direct me. I try. Do I succeed at it? Probably not as much as I think I do, all right, because reality is different from what I'm dreaming a lot of times. So the company's growing. I'm very happy with that, but we're also listening, going back to what people are telling us. Next, the U.S., we've kind of put aside at this point in time. The U.K. is our next growth, because there's 1.4 million
Romanians there.
Romanians
Whose languages are not, with all due respect.
Exactly. You hit it right. You hit it right on. Language skill, they're not educated top notch. Okay, they're blue collar a lot. They're hardworking Romanians that went there to make a new life for like my grandparents did.
Exactly.
Okay, like my grandparents did. All right, came. They're English, so
they need help.
They need help, and we know that. So this is the market that we're going after early next year. Right? We're starting that because we know from our facts that we've researched and done, people are unhappy, then they're much happier when they can pick up the telephone and speak to somebody in their own tongue. Exactly. And we can issue prescriptions there too.
Because you're working with a company.
Well, the pharmacies inside the EU and around there accept them now. Okay, it's all part of it. So this is crescendo. If you're talking, okay, this is how the crescendo. This is how it's happening right now. And after the UK is a pilot, after that we'll take Spain, Portugal, Italy,
France. Germany.
Yes, exactly. One by one, because we had an interesting the Romanian embassy attaches had a conference here, summertime, right? And we were there, and we spoke. We had a chance to meet with UK, France, Italy, all the attaches. They emphasized the same thing for each country.
One of the topics was the number 3, the help, the hero. It's about CSR. It's not only about CSR. You do tens of projects per year. I already know that. But you already also very fast. You jumped on helping Ukrainians when the war broke up in Ukraine, opening up a line especially for Ukrainian speaking nurses and doctors were possible to reach, and you had more than 120,000 consults.
Something like that.
That's also, I do not want to reach that. Just important to mention that you do sometimes many times you feel and you do what is right, not necessarily what is perfect and what is logical and what is business wisely. Ukrainian, that was also helped by other companies to be delivered. I want to, regarding the speed part and growth, I want to touch a little bit. I do not want to go to the next topic, to touch on what probably many entrepreneurs think. Okay, so if I'm going fast because circumstances and I'm growing the company, sometimes heart and mind managed to keep there, but there are management layers what has to be built up, and vertical and horizontal the same way, and operations. How important is that operations and management follow the growth of the company and to be up to date and staffed correctly? You have the experience.
I can tell you first thing, all right, I'm not an operational guy, all right, I'm a startup guy, all right, I'm good, my whole life I'm good with a vision and bringing the players together and getting it off the ground, managing of the people and all those, I can do it, but I don't like it, okay, such as we talked about before, egos and personalities and everything. Operations is a hugely important part, and operations has to keep up with everything. Everything. It's not that, and operations and sales, as you know, don't get along most of the time. Okay.
No.
Sales wants to do something. Operations says, you're crazy.
I know what you're talking.
Okay. You know this. Okay. Yeah. If we didn't have the operational team we wouldn't keep up. And I'll give you, all right, Lucian, Adina, all the nurses, Ciprian, everybody. Without them, Katerina, exactly. Katerina, okay. Katerina, Athena, who's our Moldovan economist, okay? All right? A student who came to us and really cares about what she does and is also learning a lot because we're a small company and we have her doing economics and accounting and HR work and everything. And she's, okay, I'm happy doing this because I'm learning a ton of things. All right. So from Katerina to Athena to Adina to Ciprian to Alexandra, who's our PR, we was very lucky to find. Here's an example how blessings or luck works at times.
Luck is with the winners and the courageous person.
Alexandra was a nurse, working in nursing, oncology clinic, things and experience. Received her master's degree in communications, went to work for Itsy Bitsy then, and then came to us. How lucky can I get to have somebody with a nursing degree in communications? Okay.
It's pretty narrow.
It was very, very narrow. Give it a, I had, when we were interviewing her, you know, the Heraldist, the company, all right. I had Elena interview Alexandra because, again, I said, I don't know how to interview for this, okay, this PR stuff and everything. Elena called me and I said, how was it? She goes, if you don't hire her, I will. Okay. Okay.
That's pretty good.
So having this operational team is so very important. Adi Danchu on medical side. Lucian has done more than a superb job on operations and IT, everything. He's a genius at this. Okay. I'm the dumb shit in this. I brought everybody together, but that's the extent of my talents.
Well, that's a very important talent, and it's crucial because it's like as you mentioned in crescendo, it's about symphony, it's about the orchestra, it's about every music.
Every instrument has its part.
Exactly, and alone it's a nice sound, but together, as I was saying, as you mentioned in the quote, human mind and human heart can work perfectly. Well, not really, but they can work individually. But together they can do miracles. And I think you're on the right track on a daily basis to do miracles in your company, but also helping the Romanian market and hopefully UK in the future to help them to reach out and to find what they need in terms of telemedicine.
And the one of the largest parts of what makes me satisfied. I won't use proud. Okay. Satisfied is that we're attacking areas that really need us, rural areas, older people who not look. Obviously I'm old. Okay, I'm one, and I've been called the oldest entrepreneur in the country.
I don't think so.
I don't know either, but anyhow, it
ruin your
doesn't make
perception about yourself. But
it doesn't. I said I've been called that.
Okay.
That's all. I don't know. I don't care. Age is a matter of my. Remember, in the States, 70 is the new 50. Okay. I go to the gym every day. I swim. I work out. I do whatever I need. Okay, on things, everything. But the point being is we're reaching people that have a real need for us, and I'm so satisfied with hearing back from old age people and rural people and blind people and now deaf people too. Wow, this is so cool. We never had this before. It's helping make our lives so much easier.
Absolutely.
This is
it's so rewarding, receiving all these customer feedbacks. But they're not customer; they're the human beings who need help.
Human beings. I don't count them as customers.
Exactly.
They're human beings, and they're saying, "You've impacted our lives, and you've made our lives so much easier." Now, and say, God, we did that. Okay, this is cool.
And you keep doing it. Well, Philip, thank you for all this incredible information. We are not yet at the end of the podcast. We are just the end of the first part of the podcast. So the three pages of your story we discovered, and I learned a lot about you and Telios and the great team and the great origins of the company and your origins. I think it's time to move to the second part, where I ask you to think or identify, because you don't have to think, you know them. Aha moment. A moment which happened to you in the past, what you remember, which impacted your personal, your business life. It's up to you. And I also we'll dig in a little bit with the extra questions for that specific aha moment. So what is the aha moment, what you want to share with me and to all those who are listening or watching this podcast?
I think everybody has aha moments in life, not just one. Probably many people have a great deal of them, but it's something very emotional to go through when you have an aha moment that changes your whole perception of what you think life is about.
Absolutely.
And that's the one I'll talk about.
Please.
All right. That's the one I'll talk about. And the one that did this is how the basis that we all began. Okay. Remember, I had a wife who was 44 years old, right? Was a surgical nurse, told you, at Cleveland Clinic. All right. Came home at night, started, I think I forgot this. I think I forgot to do this today. I have to go back to the hospital and check and see things, everything. And this kept building a little bit more. I said, okay, let's go see somebody. Okay. Neurologist friend of mine. Went to him. It's stress. She's depressed. Burnout, let's say. Gave her the normal things. A few weeks go by, it's getting worse. Same thing. Says, look, and he's a personal friend of mine. And he was outside of the clinic because we couldn't let the Cleveland Clinic know exactly what was going on back then until we actually knew what was going on. So my friend says, I don't see this happening, but let's do a blood test. There's a blood. Remember, this was in 2004. Says almost 20 years ago. Things have changed since then a lot. Said, let's do a blood test. There's a blood test out that will see if she has a particular gene and everything. Because her sister was having some difficulties at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. So the nurse came home. She took blood. About a week goes by, and my friend calls me and says, come on in, both of you. So he came in, and he said, I didn't expect this at all. She has the one gene. There's actually four or five, I forget now. Okay. She has one. She has the APOE gene, it's called. Everything. And she said, it's a 50-50 chance that it kicks in or not.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, she's on the bad 50% part of it. So we had to process that. So we went home. And I remember we sat on the couch and we talked. And she said, look, you're going to lose me. She said, I know I'm going to die, but you're going to lose me. Okay, who I am. Are you prepared for that? I said, good question. I said, then who's going to take care of me? I said, are you going to give up all these years to take care of me? Because that's what it's going to take. I said, another good question. And of course, being a husband, I said, yeah, I'll take care of you. But inside, my heart's, I'm tearing myself apart inside and everything. And she said, I have a solution. I said, what's that? Just kill me. I said, you're serious? She goes, no, I'm serious. Please, I know there's states here that we can go to. Please, just kill me. I don't want you going through this.
It's very...
Okay? That was the biggest aha moment of my life, was to make that decision. Do I change my life completely? Completely. 100%. I'm not talking 20%, 40%, 60%. It's 100% change in your life. I said, I'm very thankful for that, being an entrepreneur, that I could actually make that decision. Because how many people can't make that choice? Because they have a job, they have kids, they have everything. My daughter was grown up at that point. Well, wasn't grown up, but was old enough to understand things, everything. So I had this aha moment, let's call it. This aha moment literally changed my whole outlook on life, because now I had to realize that, okay, we're a couple. I have to take care of myself, have her. Now, all my attention has to go here. Can I do it? So that was the biggest aha moment in my life. And the payback on that was after 11 years
treating her and being along with her.
Of treating her, I was there when she passed. And this is the hard part. Okay. She became lucid for a minute. She looked at me, smiled. She had tears in her eyes, and she was gone.
Thank
So
you for sharing
that's
this with
what
us.
gave this aha moment and all these years of saying, like, fuck, what am I doing? Excuse me.
Mhm.
What am I doing? Can this be done? Can we make it through this? That was worth it.
Absolutely. I have a friend who is a TV journalist, and I was talking about the format of the podcast, and he said, "Oh, so you have the first part when you discover the three things, whatever, and then the aha moment, and then the third part when you will talk about some real life examples and you comment on it." Aha moment part, if it's done correctly, and you have very opened guests,
It's a real life moment.
he said to me, like, you will hear very challenging things from your guests regarding aha moments, and it can be anything. Are you ready for that? And thank you for sharing this. I know that it's not easy to talk and relive again what you went through, and probably that we have a saying in Romania: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
It made me, all of this has made me stronger because now I'm experiencing it again, kind of. My doctor friend, Adi, his sister and I have been actually together now since, but I knew her before I knew my wife. Okay. I knew her before I knew my wife, but she was married. I wasn't. But then I was married and so on and so on. Okay. We're together. Her father has this now.
Life
Alzheimer's.
brings you challenges and
So-
means to help.
So it's another challenge, but I know the means to help now and have the experience. So it's,
Life and God has mysterious ways. Thank you for sharing this aha moment, and I'm glad that you did that. I want to gear up to the last part of our podcast. It's called "Learn from You." I developed 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different. We will not discuss all of them. I will choose 2 of them.
thank
Okay.
you.
6 different life situations from the entrepreneur's part. Okay. Some of it we already touched, so I will not go into that one. I want your 2 cents. Like, okay, this is the situation. This is the question. What would you recommend if an entrepreneur like this would come up to you in a conference, in a meeting, in a podcast, at a university, or on the street, and, hey, Mr. Philip, this is my situation. What do you recommend? So the first one, for example, it's we talked about growth. We haven't talked about this, and I think it's interesting. So the situation, the scenario is the following. A healthcare startup representative is debating or contemplating or not sure whether to invest heavily in the AI and IoT or to focus on enhancing human-centered care. Would your experience, would you recommend to go after the new kid in the block, AI, IoT, and so on, or to focus more on the heart and soul of the customers? And I do not want from you, and you already proved that you don't talk politically correct. What would be your recommendation in this case?
First of all, the people that we take care of come first, right? AI, machine learning IoT is a tool, right? People have called us, people said, you're an IT company. I said, no, we're a service company that utilizes IT in our product, right? That's such a fine line because actually both have to be developed.
Absolutely. That's why I asked this question, because it's not either or.
AI, machine learning, IoT, all of this is coming. It's the future. It's coming.
It is.
It's not coming. It's here now. Yeah. Exactly. It's here now. If we don't take advantage of these tools to help the people that we are working with now, then everybody loses. How we take advantage of the tools is a different story, because then it comes a lot of the tools I would love to take advantage of immediately.
Absolutely.
All right. But I have constraints, monetary constraints, time constraints, staff constraints, but all these tools are out there for a purpose. We just, the most difficult part for me is I'm like a kid in a toy shop. Okay. Wow. I want this. I see this. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. I want to be this. All right.
You're an entrepreneur.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a kid but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur, and boys never grow up anyhow.
You know what's the difference? Sorry if I interrupt you. I hope not.
Please.
You know what's the difference between adults and kids? The price of the toy.
Exactly. Okay. Especially boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I don't offend anybody.
No. It's well. We're going to offend somebody for sure. Okay.
If you want to conquer anybody, we should be selling ice cream, not doing entrepreneurship.
Oh, even ice cream will offend somebody.
Yeah. All right. So coming back.
Everything. So the point in this is, how do you balance it out? And that really is a difficult part to do, because I want everything now. Okay. And I really do, but I also realize that, and I learned the lesson in, we're building a medical clinic too in Cluj. Yep. Okay. We've had to temporarily pause on that, downsize it, because my eyes were too big, and I said, we can do it. This was before the war started. We had made our commitments. Then the war started, and all the prices began to go up. Everything began to hit everything. And the worst part of my job was saying, God, I can't, it tore my heart out to say, I can't do this the way I want to do it anymore. Right. So this balance between of what all the great things that are happening out there, how can I utilize them that makes our people have a better experience, and not all at once, because again, luckily also, Romanian market here is very forgiving because people are skeptical. Okay, so we have time to experiment and time to grow and use new things.
So you say that it's important. We have to, and no question about. I hear this from everybody in entrepreneurship or not, technology related or not, that these things are here already and will be here and will. Somebody's told me that and very important, and he knows what he's saying, that you don't even imagine how big impact will have on the human race, all this, and it will have one way or another.
Yes,
absolutely. But nevertheless, how you distinguish between a shiny object and a really impactful and useful technology, IT, software, IoT from your business, which really moves the needle in what is important to serve human beings in the care, in your case, in telemedicine? How you distinguish between shiny objects and real important things?
A lot of it's a gut reaction, number one.
Okay.
I use my gut intensively.
You know the market pretty well.
I use my gut. And number two is let our people utilize it also. Mm-hmm. And see test it, mm-hmm. See how the responses are, see how things go. That's the key. See how the adaptability is and how the acceptability is. That doesn't necessarily take the shiny away sometimes, but it tells me that people are more interested in this than they are this. An example. We have a partnership with a company in Poland. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hygo is its name. Okay. They have a home care. They have a device that we're using in our nurse home care, where a nurse can come and visit and do eyes, ears, nose, throat, heart, lungs, everything. And it's a device that transmits everything to our doctors. Okay. the acceptance of that device for the nurse usage was good.
Absolutely.
Okay, was fine because people, we send the nurse at home. They know it's a nurse. They know she's qualified.
Yeah.
She's professional. We have a doctor on one end. She knew. We also have a version of that device that is meant for home use.
Mm-hmm.
AI driven. It tells you when you're at the right location on the heart, when you're at the right location on the lungs, when you're at the right location, ears, throats. It tells you. It gives a beep. Okay, tell you it's all driven.
Yeah.
Thing. So we gave it to we brought a dozen of those in, and we gave them around, utilized them. Nobody utilized them. And the reason why was, again, we said, how come you didn't do this? Your child was ill. She said, because it was easier to pick up the phone and call you.
But nevertheless, these tools, yeah, or equipment, they're not tools, they're equipment, really help, not because on the phone or via video chat or typing messages, that's not the same than with the equipment to measure whatever it's important and then transmit to the doctor, and the doctor can 100% make better assumption of your medical situation than just talking over the phone or a video. That's interesting. So checking internally, testing internally, externally will, at the end, will decide whether it's a usage issue or the equipment, tool, technology, software, is it really useful for the end user?
In time, yes.
Okay, I would like to switch to another lost situation. And you already touched on this regarding UK. So the scenario is the following. An entrepreneur is considering to grow his business abroad, to bring it abroad. And we talked about this podcast with many entrepreneurs that either they recommend for entrepreneurs from Romania because we have bright persons, and many businesses are already mature enough to go abroad, and we need a little bit of confidence and to do it. And with Andrei Radu, we were talking about e-commerce companies. They can sell products to abroad and we can ship it there, or we have different warehouses closer to the end user or whatever. But what if the entrepreneurs, okay, I really know that the UK market is an important and we can make a difference there, but there is big cultural difference. How can, you already hinted that you're targeting not UK citizens, local ones, but Romanians who are there. So they are much probably, they also have the need to talk in Romanian. But what if you target a country, because you went to China, to Malaysia, to Indonesia, to India, and those are different cultures. Not only the language, but the culture, the beliefs, the values, they're different. So how can you cope as an entrepreneur? Probably the answer is not, are there shortcuts to develop your business there? Or do you have recommendations for entrepreneurs?
Comes down to one thing again. We talked about it here, how we build. Comes down to one thing, comes down to team. Different cultures need different teams. You cannot take a team that is born and raised here and put them in the UK and expect that you're going to adapt to a culture there. You need to get your team from there with your idea, get them to support, teach them to understand, because they're the ones that are going to be going out and selling what the idea is. And if I can expound a little bit on sales, okay, my best mentor was actually a Polish Jew, okay, friend of mine, best one ever had. He taught me two things. He taught me the golden rule. That was the first one. Golden rule is them that has the gold, they make the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number one, he said, look, in your journey as an entrepreneur, because he recognized that in me when I was young. Okay, he said, in your journey, you're going to have people that come to you. Well, we're going to have to do this cost, and this idea is really good. This is super. I have a genius idea. It's a wow factor and everything. He said, if you can't sell it, you don't have anything. And selling it is adapting to the culture that you're going to be dealing with. So if any entrepreneur would say, if you have a product that you're trying to expand, you have to understand the marketplace first.
And to have local teams involved.
We're an example of that. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just took what was being practiced in the States for 25 years, adapted it to the marketplace here. How did we adapt it? In the States, online is number one there, important. Here, we did a survey. We asked people, how do you like to communicate with a doctor or a friend or something? Everything. Yeah, on online or a video or call. Because Romanians like to talk, guess what? It was telephone. Okay, so that was how we developed. We took a situation that we knew worked here, and it's true. You go on the metro, you go on the buses, you go walk the streets, see everybody with phones. Up to look at your kids right now. They're with their phones all the time.
Probably.
Right? Okay, mostly. So people like their phones. So we adapted our marketplace, our product to start with that first. So if you don't understand your market, you don't grow. Financing is another story. Okay, financing is another story. You don't have to be in the marketplace that you're going to get money from.
Yeah.
People just have to believe in what you're doing.
Thank you. It was quite a journey, this podcast, and I learned many things. I discovered you in different ways. I wasn't aware of information about you. I also got inspired by you. How important are aha moments? It's important to really make choices at one point, the right ones, and follow through. And the last part, you're a seasoned entrepreneur. You're at one point to another friend, I told him an old fox, but it's not necessarily. We're not talking about age, and in your case, I'm not talking about age too.
A silver fox.
You a silver fox. I will change the silver fox. I think you have copyrights on it. No. Okay. So the silver fox, you have quite many stories, and I know that you love to participate in different gatherings, conferences, and talk about your entrepreneurship, your journey, your experience, and about Telios Care, because that's your child, your and your team's child. So thank you, and I'm really grateful that you accepted this challenge. I hope I didn't put you on too many roads with my questions, and we welcome you every time when Telios has a. But I think you want to add something.
If I can end with something,
Please.
and I end this with my kids that I mentor a lot too. My mentor who I spoke about before also taught me the most important thing I ever learned. And it was a kind of an aha moment also, but it was a different type of aha moment. He said, remember, as you grow up, he said, and as you deal with people, he said, there's two types of people. There's those that take and those that give. He said those that take are called me's. Me, yo, yo, yo. Okay. Those that give with all their heart, never expect anything in return, because not if, when you receive something in return, that's a gift from God.
Philip, thank you. Appreciate, as I said, always you're welcome in the iTalk studio, business champion or life hero. We have the other parts. And if you have nominees, friends, partners, you would recommend to invite, we are open. Our doors are open. Thank you very
Okay.
much. And dear, those who are watching us or will be watching us in the future or listening to us, keep around us because we have great guests in the future too. Thank you, and wish a lovely journey in your life and probably, hopefully, many interesting aha moments.